Welcome to Career Launch Live. I have got Foster Williams in the house today, and I am so excited about that.
Let's learn. Hey, America. Let's learn how to get a
Hey,
job the right way. The right way.
the right way, and also how to recruit and hire the right way. Hi
Yes.
guys, we got people saying hi already. We got Jean Pierre and Catherine. Hi,
Jump
welcome,
Pierre.
welcome.
Morning, Jump Pierre.
I tell you what, I am excited about this show. We've got some new guests. We've got some exciting we've
Yeah.
got some exciting guests. And
To
I'm
say
I'm
the
very
least.
very
Yeah.
excited. Thank you, Catherine. She's saying we're two of her favorite recruiting peeps. Right back at you.
All right. All right. All right.
So I want to start this show off by first of all thanking you, Foster, for having me on the Who You Know show last
Yeah,
week
you
on
rock the house.
Wednesday. We had a good time.
Yeah, we always have a
A
good time. This
good
person and
time.
Mark are a force to be reckoned with.
You are. But you know what? I survived it. And I
Yeah,
came
you
out
did. You
stronger.
handled us just well, just fine.
And I wanna say, to start off the show, guys, first of all, if you're looking for an opportunity, go ahead and visit careerlaunch2020.com. We do have several employers that are hiring, and we are also linked up with Project Help You Grow, which is an awesome site run by Ira Bowman.
Love our
Fantastic
Roman.
human being.
Yeah,
Love Ira. He's one of the helpers, man. He really is. And his site has jobs all across the world. So
yeah, it really does.
definitely check him out.
I was
Um,
around during the early days of Project Help You Grow when Ira and I were up till like 2 in the morning talking about everything that he was going to do.
I believe it. And you know what? Now it's really something to see. It really is. I
Oh
am
my God, I
so
know,
impressed.
I know.
Yeah, it's really incredible. Um, and I wanna acknowledge too, one of the other co-hosts that you have, Trevor Houston, who's always doing things to
Oh
help
man,
people,
yeah,
to help people. And that man, let me tell you, I have more people talk to me about videos now and doing videos than ever before. He's
yeah,
really
and that's
got
good.
this
Yeah,
trend blowing up, and I
that's
I
what we're
love it
doing. Trevor's
absolutely. And
heart's
he's
big as it's bigger than Dallas. It really is, y'all. Trevor's
it
good
really
people.
is.
Yeah,
It really is. All right. So today we are talking about hiring A to Z, right? So we're going to give you perspectives from the other side of the desk. Okay. We're going to have on HR and recruiting professionals. And we also have a diversity and inclusion specialist coming on. I'm very excited about that. Um, and one of the things I really want to emphasize when we're going through all this is, guys, connect to us. Connect on LinkedIn, connect, message us. If you're watching, type something there. We respond to every single comment, every single question. We are here for you, but connect to us on LinkedIn. Both Foster and I will respond. We will engage with you. We will help you as much as we can.
absolutely.
And that's for both sides, job seekers and also hiring professionals. If you guys have
Yeah,
questions,
we
if you
we
need
are
help, you
hiring
need support,
professionals.
that's right. That's all we do, right, Foster? We've been
That's right. That's right.
we've been doing this
I'm not
for
gonna tell y'all
forever.
how long I've been doing it, and believe me, I'm not gonna tell you.
Way too long. Way too long.
Way too long.
And I did see another one of my favorite people say good morning. Hello, Patricia. It's good to see you too. This lady is a terrific person. She lights up your face when you talk to her. You can't help but smile real big. She's a
That's
wonderful
got to be
person. She
Patty
is a job
Bashy.
seeker. So guys, so I want to start today too. Our last episode was all things pay, right? We talked about negotiating pay, payday law, all of that. Now, Foster, you were not able to be on that show, which is okay. I know Wednesday is your busiest day, but what is your take on national payday law? Because my whole thing was, I want everybody to have it as good as Texas has it, and they don't. Right? I get to
Yeah,
Florida and there's no payday law, and
that's
California
true.
is just a complete train wreck.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
what's your take on that about the idea of national payday law?
Well, I'm not really concerned that much about national payday law. What I'm concerned about is, what do I need? And now you got to be realistic about what it is and understand and do your research. Find out what it is for whatever your skill set is, whatever kind of job you're looking for. Find out what that pays. But only person that can determine what we go to work for is us. So we need to learn how to negotiate that,
That's right.
for us, for our purposes. We have children, we have husbands, we have wives. When we make a job decision, guys, it affects more than just us. So that's something to think about. Do your research. I'm not so much worried about what the law is, but I need to know what I need to do.
Right. And that is true too, guys. And research, 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 research. We'll be harping on that more again soon.
Yeah.
So I actually want to bring on, I know our first guest is here with us early, so I actually want to go ahead and bring her on.
Bring her
We have
on.
Miss Ann Goodman.
All
She is
right.
a
And right
wonderful
here in
HR
Dallas with me.
professional. And right there in Dallas with you. That's
That's
right.
right.
Very excited to have Miss Ann on today. She's going to be discussing making a good job description, and on the candidate side, what you can interpret from a job description. Let's bring on Ann. There she is.
Hey, good morning,
I know
everyone.
that lady.
It's
Good
awesome.
morning.
It's awesome to see you, and I'm very excited to be here. I hope all of you are too.
Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. And hi to Priscilla too. We just got another hello.
Is that Priscilla Hollis?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's Miss Hollis. I want to thank you so much for coming on today, Ann. And guys, by the way, Ann is on the other side of the desk. Normally she is an HR professional, but right now she is in the market as well. So she kind of has a perspective from both sides.
Absolutely. Awesome. Definitely.
So first of all, let's start with, what is that like to suddenly be on the other side of the desk?
Well, it's quite different. So I get to feel the candidate experience, especially in a COVID-19 perspective.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
I've been in talent acquisition and HR transformation for more than 20 years. And I've worked in Big Four consulting, RPO, BPO, and I've led all sorts of recruitment teams. And most recent clients were Coca-Cola, Hewlett-Packard, AT&T, PayPal. And, pre-COVID-19, it was really the war on talent. And so you wanted to make sure that you were building a job description to attract the candidates that were currently working and try to lure them away from their current employer. And now that we're in this COVID-19 period, the candidate pool is so large, and candidates are looking at really every job description out there. They're applying to everything out there. Recruiters are getting totally inundated with resumes. Their LinkedIn messaging and emails are going crazy. And so making sure that you can funnel that candidate pool and get the right candidates in front of the recruiter, and then essentially to the hiring manager is key. And
absolutely.
So, yeah.
And there is some kind of weird echo going on. I apologize. On the side of the candidates, what is it that you're looking for now as an HR professional now on the candidate seat? What is it that you are looking for in a job description to indicate stability and the right kind of culture?
Well, from a candidate perspective and even from a hiring perspective, I would say that making sure that the job description is concise and the candidate can understand if they're really qualified for the position. So making sure the must-haves are in there, so you know whether or not to apply. Making sure that the soft skills are in there as well as the hard skills. And I know that as we look at hiring during the COVID-19 period, a lot of companies are having a virtual workforce through the end of the year. And so making sure that people understand, if you're working from home, maybe one of the qualifications you want to list there is, are you enabled with digital technology? Do you have a self-starter attitude and a structured attitude? Some people don't work as well from home. So I think, attracting the candidate is very important as well. And then if the job is transitioning to an on-site location, being specific about that and being specific where the location is. So I'm in Dallas, Fort Worth. So to say, XYZ company, Dallas, Texas, doesn't really say a whole lot because the metroplex is so large.
Yeah.
And so maybe saying something to the effect of virtual workforce is estimated through the end of the year, After that time frame, the work location is 123 Main Street, so the person knows that they're going to be traveling downtown. Some people may not want to make that commute. So I think that's pretty specific. And then also making sure that the job title is one that everyone can understand and not having, internal acronyms specific to a company that an applicant may not understand.
Right.
I think I like the word specific that you're using. And I think, Anne, if you have any earbuds there, I think that's the reverb that we're hearing, is because you're hearing me also on the mic. I think that's what that is. The word specific is so important there, because so many times these job descriptions, and Foster, you and I have talked about this, they're so vague. And you're going, what is this? I don't even understand what this job is. And even down to the location, like you said, DFW is massive. And I have seen dozens upon dozens of job recs that say DFW Metroplex. Okay, well, there's an hour commute difference between Louisville and Duncanville, right? So I need to know where
dynamics of downtown are different. Anne just mentioned it. The downtown dynamics here in Dallas are remarkably different from just anywhere else.
Right, 100%. So I think the word specific is very important. So recruiters, if you're doing a job description, if you're typing up a job description, make sure you are specific. Give location, benefits. I think listing the benefits very specifically is highly important. Would you agree with that, Anne?
I would. And, some people, especially when we had the war on talent, for executive hiring in particular, lots of times compensation would not be listed because you were looking just to get any talent that you possibly could, because of such a shortage in the labor market. Mm-hmm. And you would potentially present candidates that were outside of range because that was the flow that you had. I believe in today's environment, personal opinion is I would list compensation.
100%.
Yeah, if you've got a position for, $100,000 to $120,000, you don't want the candidates that are making 60, 70, and 80 applying. You don't want those making 200,000 applying. Right. So I would list that. I would also even list something quick about the bonus structure, potential up to 5% bonus for individual and team contribution.
Absolutely, 100%. I agree with that. Can you mute me again, Anne? There you go. There we go. So I think too, I think that being specific, like you said, the compensation needs to be on there. And recruiters, this is huge. Please stop posting jobs without anything listed about the salary requirement. You know what the budget is. And if you don't, make your client tell you. If you're a recruiter, and if you're an HR person, you know what the budget is. Come on. You need to put something on there. That's a clear and concise communication. And a lot of candidates out there see it as very shady if you don't list that, right? They get very afraid. They get very sketchy. Foster, what's kind of your take on that?
We three, and you and I, probably can look at a resume because we've been doing it long enough now. We can look at a resume and we can pretty much tell what that person's salary is going to be. You'd be surprised how we can do that. And I agree with what you're saying. Put the specifics. I like that word, specifics. Put those specifics on there. Now, there are a lot of recruiters, guys, that have not been recruiting as long as us three. And those guys are learning the craft. And we hiring managers, I say we because I used to be one. We hiring managers need to help those recruiters. Here's a process that we don't like. I think both of you guys are going to laugh at this. A lot of times we'll get a job posting. We will have a hiring manager say, I need to hire this person. Oh my God. And so we send them exactly what they tell us they need. Then they let us know what they're really looking to hire. Well, this is not on, and this is not, well, I am sending you exactly what you told me you wanted. Then we find out, but guys, we have so much of an influx of technology now. It takes time. And that time is so valuable because so many things are flying around like little bees buzzing around our head at work, and the phone's ringing, and I got 500 emails. And hiring managers, please, if you can be specific with us, let us know as best you can. When I start sending you exactly what you're looking for and you're telling me, no, that's not what I want, guys, that's taking time.
Yes. Yes, and that's so important to hiring managers. And we do have some watching today, by the way. Make sure that you're accurately communicating what you want. Sit down and have a conversation with HR. Don't just send them a bunch of paragraphs. And recruiters do this with your hiring managers. Sit down, go over everything with them. Make sure that you really feel out what's actually important versus what's not. And by the way, we had a question. So Jean-Pierre asked, what do I do if I'm willing to relocate? I'm willing to relocate. I'll even pay for it, but I'm afraid that that's going to essentially, stop me from getting any calls. One of the things that you can do, don't specify your location on your resume because that will spook some people off. Just let that be part of the conversation when you talk to them. Other application processes talk about, are you willing to relocate? That kind of thing. So but I would definitely take it off of your resume. I don't think that should cancel you out because I've dealt with that. I've had multiple clients across the country hire with that. And what's your take on that?
I absolutely agree with that. I would take the location off and make it a conversation because many times you're not going to get that return phone call. People are going to, the hiring manager or recruiter is going to think, well, it's going to take time to relocate somebody. I really need somebody to start sooner and don't want to have to deal with potential moving delays and things of that nature. So I would make it a conversation and get that phone call.
Absolutely, 100%. And
yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
And
one of my clients, Josh, we just went through this. I'm not going to throw your last name out there, Josh, but we just went through that very thing, and that is exactly what we did, and it worked.
Yes,
Josh
it does. It absolutely does. 100%. And I'm telling you, I've dealt with that over and over and over again. Once the company decides that they like you, they will bend over backwards. And trust me, I know. I moved from Texas to Miami in a week.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That's an insane process, P.S., but I made it happen. And so candidates that are truly motivated, like you, Jean-Pierre, that's exactly it. And it says the online application is asking for your address. There's nothing you can do about that. What I would do at that point is also contact them on LinkedIn and or via email and let them know that you are willing to relocate at your own expense. Okay. I understand that sometimes you can't help with the application process. That's just part of life, but try to contact them personally and let them know that you are willing to relocate. So, Anne, I know you have some visuals for us on a job description. Can we get those up here? You had a great example for a job description. Let's see.
Sure.
All right. And kind of walk us through there what you like about this description and why, if you could.
Sure, absolutely. So this is an actual live job description for SuccessFactors implementation individual. You can see the street address is listed specifically, and for some reason it's not showing up real clear on here, but I have another copy in front of me. From an overall job title, it's one that people can understand because it's very specific and not specific to the company. For the job description, I kind of think that the company overview should be just a personal opinion, and you may have a differing opinion, but maybe about 3 sentences. I think sometimes if you put too much in there, the candidates aren't going to read it anyway, and you're expending a lot of extra effort. I would put something that's attention grabbing. This one was really good because it said, nominated best place to work. It also includes culture. Culture is huge right now. We have a big diversity and inclusion efforts from a hiring perspective and, from a country perspective. And in here, they're attracting culture with an all-inclusive environment, but then looking at diversity and inclusion, saying that they've been ranked in Consulting Magazine, in Working Mother Magazine, in Diversity Inc. So I think those are good, unique qualifiers to get somebody really interested in the organization. And I do think culture is key. From
100%.
And from a job summary perspective, this goes into detail on what the day-to-day specific activities are. So it's the day-to-day activities, it's the solid foundational knowledge as it relates to functional and IT in human resources. It's got the technical capabilities for the type of systems that they'd be working with, and then the support from an implementation perspective. And then I like from qualifications, the must-haves here. So a candidate knows they should not be applying if they don't have the must-have skills, and that's going to get your funnel to the right candidates coming in. So this is saying you must have a minimum of 5 years in HRIT, and if you don't, then you shouldn't be applying. And from an ATS perspective, that should weed them out on the knockout questions. I would use these as knockout questions in the ATS to knock them out. The prior implementation experience, the prior systems experience, etc. And then from an ending perspective, this goes ahead and lists what the compensation is, what the bonus potential is, as well as it has the affirmative action and EEOC disqualifier, stating that all applicants are not judged upon race, gender, sexual orientation, etc. And I do recommend that go on every job description as well.
100%. Can you take care of the sound? There we go. All right. So on the first of all, on the must-haves, that's something that Foster and I are both very, very passionate about. Communicate what is actually necessary, HR and recruiting people, versus what is not so necessary, right? And what is just a nice to have. And the other side of that too is on the job seeker side. If you see something and it is bolded and it is italicized and it is underlined and it is in capital letters and you don't have it, please don't apply. Please do not do that. You're not going to get the job. I understand that you may have so many other qualifications, but that one thing is so important that they've made a big point of it. If you don't have it, don't even try. And now, Foster, we always talk about this too. When it comes to a job description, what percentage of the requirements would you say that a job seeker should have in order to apply to a job?
Now we're talking about the requirement, guys, not the nice to have, but the requirement. I like the way you stated that, Catherine. Oh my goodness, that's not me, is it? Okay. No. Those requirements, guys, the absolute must-haves, we need to have at least probably 80% of that. Yes. And the ones that we don't have an explanation ready as to maybe why or why not. We want to study the company. Well, I just got through talking about this. Andy Cook and I just were the speakers at our project management focus group, and we were talking about this very thing. And guys, make sure that we're explaining, understand that company, study that company, be ready. The last thing that Catherine and Ann and Foster, any other hiring managers want to do is hire somebody that's not showing any real moxie for the position. Have you done your homework? Are you interested in what I'm doing? I understand, guys, that there are a lot of activity here in Dallas-Fort Worth. There's a lot of activity. But if we are truly interested in a job, we will show our homework that we've done and our excitement about what they're asking for. We will have questions that are specific to those very things that we're talking about right now, the requirements of that job. We will have questions that will help us get answers from the hiring manager that can explain to us why it may or may not be the little 20% that we don't have that's asked for. I don't think Ann or Catherine would say that they've ever seen someone that's 100% fit for any job.
Oh, no, it doesn't exist.
No.
And each hiring manager is different. Yeah.
I will tell you this too, that another very big aspect is that enthusiasm. And HR people and recruiters, this goes to you too. Look for that person that's enthusiastic. They'll pick up the little meat and potatoes of the position. They'll pick that stuff up. But what you can't teach is enthusiasm and attitude, right? Yep. And I understand that certain skills can be required. Completely understand that. But I will tell you this. I have built several recruiting teams from the ground up. When I did that, I had no more than a total of 3 people out of a total of, between the different companies, 40 some odd people that I've taught to do this that had any level of recruiting or sourcing experience. 3. That means that less than 10% did. The rest of them I trained from the ground up because they were quality, they had the right attitude, they were tenacious, and they could read people, which was the biggest soft skill that was important. I think to with these job descriptions, I think, Anne, that you made a beautiful, I love that point that you made about including the culture. And guys, look for a company that's doing that, that's proud of their culture, that speaks. And
Yes.
companies, if you are proud of your culture, you need to put that on there. If not, think about that. And you need to make some adjustments. Anne, what are your thoughts on that?
I absolutely agree. And I think culture and diversity and inclusion, they are huge today. And hiring managers should be screening for that because they want to make sure that somebody's going to fit in the culture. And they will be more successful that way. Another interesting point that I wanted to mention is there were some studies that were done by Big Four, and it talked about how an ideal job description is very succinct, very specific, and 1,200 to 2,000 characters. So it's not so long where you lose the candidate, but it also explains enough and exactly what you're looking for to make sure you're drawing the right candidate pool.
Yes,
I want to add
100%.
something on that if I can, Catherine. You know what? This sounds crazy, but it's true, guys. It's true anyhow. That's what my dad used to say. A robot doesn't even want to hire a robot. So we're talking about where that spark is in the candidate, guys, the excitement that we're showing for the position. A lot of times now, all three of us here, me, Ann, and Catherine, have had, okay, we've got a position and we've got 3 stellar candidates on paper that the hiring manager is he's excited about. But he will hire that one that has that spark. He will hire the one that shows that interest and the one that those intangibles fit what he feels would be a good addition to his team.
100%.
Yeah, it almost goes to the likability and the culture fit. The skills can be trained.
Yes.
But making sure that you're going to be a good part of the organization really determines a lot of success as well. And it can differentiate you from other applicants.
Absolutely. And I think we're going to go, since we're having some technical difficulties, I think we're going to go ahead and say bye. But thank you so much, Anne, for coming on. I love the information you shared.
Ann,
thank you. Thank you for the example of the job description. I think it was spectacular and that your insights were spot on. So thank you so very much for coming on.
Okay. Thank you all. Looking forward to the rest of the show.
Absolutely. And guys, connect with Anne. Anne is spectacular. I got to have a whole conversation with her very recently, and she really knows her stuff. She's very passionate. She's very friendly. Yeah. So connect with her on LinkedIn. Definitely reach out and connect to Foster and I both. If you're looking for an opportunity, go to careerlaunch2020.com. We have a bunch of opportunities posted there, including our integration with Project Help You Grow with Ira Bowman. And I believe that we have already dropped his LinkedIn in here as well. Definitely connect to him. And you mentioned Andy Cook, who is also one of my faves. Yes. She is wonderful. She works with candidates to help them land their perfect job. And she is the best. She's got a great attitude. She's getting landings every day.
Can I throw another one out there, guys?
Do it. Do it.
I would like to suggest that you guys connect with Dr. Jane Ryan. Jane Loya Ryan. She's been around a long time. She is the official coach, one of the official coaches of the Career Search Network. Guys, she has a free offering that's coming up for job seekers. I think it's going to be tremendous. And link with her and ask her for that information. Again, her name is Jane Loya Ryan. There are a lot of Jane Ryan, so you can figure out which one by using that Loya. She has the Loya. I think it's her maiden name. She has the Loya in parentheses. So please connect with her on LinkedIn as well. Tell her that Foster is running his big mouth about it.
As he does about that and barbecue.
I can tell you everything you want to know about barbecue, probably around the whole state of Texas.
Absolutely. And so next we are going to be bringing on another fan of food and a wonderful, wonderful human being, our resident psychology and counseling expert, Miss Michaela McCord. Yes, very excited. We're going to be talking about candidate communication and sourcing. Let's see if we got Miss Michaela. And there's Maslow too. He's up there. Miss Michaela. Where's Oh, there she is. With
there she is. Hey, Michaela.
And we've got Maslow's
going to come up and say hi.
Hey, Maz. Oh, no, that's not Maz. That's Alpha, isn't it?
Yeah, that's Albert. Albert, his lion.
Yes, Albert is one of his favorite
I
toys.
love those names. Those names are appropriate.
Well,
Yes.
We try our best, and he knows them by name too. He'll be like, Maslow, go get Albert, and he knows, or go get Ozzy, and he'll get Ozzy.
So, Michaela, we've always talked to you about the psychology aspect of whatever our subject is, right? And you've kind of functioned as an expert there. But there's something that a lot of people do not know about you, and that's that you've also done sourcing and worked in the recruiting realm as well.
Catherine. Okay.
I didn't know that.
So yes, she actually was one of my first sourcers. So now you know.
I'm glad we're linked in.
Yeah, see, now you know. Now you know. So Michaela has done it all. And so so today let's talk about the candidate messaging and the candidate communication. And you kind of had some points that you wanted to touch on first and foremost. So I'm going to let you take it, Miss Michaela, and then we'll start asking you questions.
Awesome. So the main thing that hit me as far as communication goes, especially when sourcing, or just in general, when you're offering someone a job or a position and you're looking for candidates, the first thing that hit me is that, what do I really not like that people do to me? And what I get a lot of is spam. Like, you just know that they're sending these messages out to everybody. And it's like, hey, we have a new and exciting opportunity. And I'm like, okay. Like you know that it's going out to everybody, and you're just another number for them to get their, I guess, quotas filled, or like whatever. Because as a sourcer, I know I had like a certain amount that I had to do, and you just know like everybody's getting spammed with it. So for me, I was like, I want to feel special. Like, that's the main thing. Is really personalize your messages, and you can do it in such a way that it doesn't take a long time to send out a whole bunch at once. Because I know that's part of the deal. When you're looking for a bunch of candidates and you're having to message and message and message, it's like, well, I don't want to have to take the time to personalize. But y'all, it can really just be a paragraph that you copy and paste and just tweak a little bit for like the specific candidate that you're on. For instance, I would suggest at least get your foot in the door, messaging something like, hey, Michaela, I noticed that you have a really strong background in marketing and sourcing. So boom, you've already personalized that message. And then just give like a few details about the position, and don't hide anything. Like, that's one thing people will do is like, we have a new and exciting opportunity, but not give you like really good details about it.
And on the flip side of that, I want to touch on this real quick, Michaela. The flip side of this applies to candidates. This applies to candidates too, you guys. This 100% applies to candidates when you're looking for a job and you're trying to connect on LinkedIn. So listen to everything she's saying and flip it around for your own purpose. Keep going, Michaela.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I'm glad you threw that in there because it's so true. It applies to both. But yeah, and so definitely do the first little introduction, like, hey, Michaela, notice you have sourcing and marketing experience. And then a few details, like you don't even have to go into major details because you want to keep it short. You don't want this to be long. People don't want to sit there and take the time to read through a long paragraph. So do something like, we have a remote opportunity that's this many hours a week and this pay range.
Yep.
There you go. And then to finish it up, just don't ask for commitment. Don't say something. I mean, you can if you want to, but I would suggest don't say something like, what's a phone number? Because that's like, whoa, buddy. Calm down, back it up, hold up a second. I would say something like, I'd love to know if you're interested. It seems like you'd be a really good fit. I can send you more details upon request. Because
I love that.
Yeah, the point is here is to hook them. That's the point. It's not to, you want to make it personalized. Yeah,
that's a different hook 'em, Foster. Different hook 'em, but still, since you started it, hook 'em horns.
Hook 'em horns.
See my colors?
That's right.
So yeah, that's what I had to say about the messaging aspect.
100%, Michaela. First of all, I love exactly how you said that, and that's how, as you know, that's how I've always trained my sourcers to message and to be interactive. And job seekers, it's the exact same thing. So when you're connecting to somebody, first of all, do not assume that they want to take 30 minutes out of their day just to talk to you about your job search. Okay, now. Foster and I both love to help people. We live to help people.
Love it.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. But let me tell you something. when somebody messages me and just assumes that I'm going to take half an hour out of my day to just have a random conversation with them, that's very frustrating to me. And it's very much a turnoff. Yeah. Oh, I get it constantly. And I'm glad to help people, but let me offer that. And so I would say always reach out, be personal and let them know what's going on with you. And maybe just say, job seekers, do you have any advice? Leave it out there, because then they have the choice. They can respond via message or via call. What do you think, Michaela?
Yeah, because then it's not taking time out of their busy schedule, out of their busy day. They can do it on their time. And that's why I really prefer the text communication, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's email, what other apps may be out there. But seriously, it gives people the opportunity to choose when they respond. Like you said, Catherine, you can't, even though in a perfect world, you would want to take the time out to like really help people. You can't do that for everybody. And me in the helping profession, I totally get that. So I'm like, I want to help everybody, want to be there. And I'm having a wonderful thing called boundaries.
Oh Lord, I know.
I have some thoughts on boundaries.
Yes, I know Foster does. And no, Jean-Pierre, by the way, he's asking what a good message would be. Please connect with Michaela and I both. We will answer that privately to you, because I'll want to have a better understanding of what's going on, as with Michaela, but definitely connect with both with Jean-Pierre, and we'll be glad to communicate with you about that.
Can I just say real quick?
Yes.
Just real quick, if you want, you can, even if we record these, so you can go back and listen, but I gave a little bit of sort of a layout of what you can say. So if that helps, you can do that too. Just want to throw that out
there. Absolutely. And guys, I like to do pro bono and just take time every week to help job seekers. I really enjoy it. I meet some extraordinary people, like Ann Goodman, our last guest. That's how I met her. And Susan Straub, who has co-hosted, and I'm going to make her co-host again. She doesn't know that yet, but just so you know, Susan, I know you're watching. And I'm coming for you again. And yeah, hi, Susan. So I think that it's but I do think it's really important to do that kind of thing. Recruiters and HR people, take that time and give back, just kind of connect back to the people, because that's one of the things that's going to teach you more about your candidate audience, right? And B, that's going to keep you more grounded. And C, let me tell you, and Foster and I have talked about this a million times, it feeds your soul. To just take an hour or two a week, I mean, seriously, 1 hour is nothing, and just help a couple of people along the way, and it's amazing what can happen. And then sometimes you meet somebody that ends up helping you out more than you help them. So I highly recommend it.
Our motto here in Dallas is hope. Help one person every day. Now I like it. I like what Mark says, because Mark says help. What does he say? Help everybody. I can't remember what Mark says, but he has a better analogy than what we came up with. So help other people every day. That's what he says.
That's what it is. That's right.
And
help other people
comes in a different ways. That help comes in a lot of different ways. The ways that Catherine and Michaela are talking about right now. It doesn't take much, y'all. We're people. We're not Martians. Right. I don't know. Michaela might be a little Martian-y.
She might be. And definitely Maslow is.
That's right. And I've talked about rejuvenation a lot on whenever I've come on, and Catherine, you took the words out of my mouth, because I was thinking it feeds your soul, and then you said it. It's like we're related or something. And but it's
from Waco.
I love that hope out of him. Foster, help other people every day. Like that, it really does. And even if you can't help other people every single day, because that can actually be very draining at times, even if you want to, it is such a great way to rejuvenate, because it's very giving. And there's something about, I don't know, like you said, the soul aspect, Catherine, that
we're people.
It back up.
Yeah, it does. And I think too, and so we're talking about this communication, and I do think it's important. And again, connect with Michaela and I and Foster all. We're glad to help you with your messaging, to get a job with your candidates. I'll help you. Recruiters, I got love for you too. I know technically I may be a competitor, but I will help you. There's room. There's enough for everybody. All right. There's no need to be greedy. I will help you too. But I want to ask you too, Michaela. So there's the other side of messaging, right? And Foster, you and I have talked about this plenty of times. We're talking about you creepos out there.
Please
trying to don't send weird
Don't talk
messages.
about my
Okay.
people.
Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me about what I look like when you're trying to get a job. Don't talk to me about don't send me pictures. Oh yeah, I've had that happen, guys. Not kidding. From a job seeker. I mean, it's just a headshot.
Asking for more pictures.
It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
And so don't approach the person in a personal way when it's a business message, especially if you don't really know them. Don't do that.
I was talking about personalizing earlier. There is a professional way to personalize. Like, don't sit there, hey, Michaela, in your profile picture, I really like the way that the shirt frames. You don't want to say anything like that. But yeah, keep it professional.
Yes, keep it professional, please, Foster.
Yeah,
watching you. No, Foster's very professional. But I think too. So I think that some people just think that they're being friendly. So guys, I'm going to get a little bit specific here, and I'm going to get Foster and Michaela's take on this.
Good.
Do not message somebody and say, "Hi, how are you?" on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
it's weird. Okay,
where is this going?
Yeah, where is this going?
Now? Like,
yeah, exactly. Be professional. Connect with Michaela and I, or watch one of the replays. Michaela will post this segment by itself, and you can watch the replay and see her suggestions for messaging. Be personable without being personal. Okay, those are two different things.
Someone needs to write different things. Put it on a bumper sticker.
Yes.
What was it? You need to be
personable. Be personable, not personal. That's right. And the other one is
say stuff like that. I didn't expect her to say that.
And the other thing too is don't ask a dumb question. Don't be dumb. Don't say something like, "What do you do for a living?" Hello, you're on LinkedIn. Look at my profile.
LinkedIn profile.
Again, it goes back. Is this a dating app? Like what's happening?
Yeah.
And even when you ask something like, "How are you?" It doesn't just instill in you like, "Oh my God, where is this going?" It's like, as far as romance, it also goes to, are you about to pyramid scheme me? Like what's about to happen?
Yes.
What's next? Yeah.
Yes.
Professional person on a professional app. It's not.
Yes.
I mean, we have Facebook, we have all these other things. That's what that's for. On LinkedIn, it's very professional.
I'd like 100%. I'd like to speak for the male testosterone contingent here. So, guys, when you own a company, I do, and a sizable impact, we get a lot of what's it called when people try to sell you something? They send you these. There's a word for that. Spam. Hey, there it is. We get a lot of that kind of spam. But here's what I get. And you guys look at my face. I am not the prettiest thing in the world. And sometimes a lady will say, "Hello there," or exactly what you said before. I know where that conversation is going, and I don't want to go to that city. I don't want to go to Nineveh.
No. And let me tell you, that will also get you blocked.
Every time it's that. And I don't mean to be mean, but I do own a very impactful company. And when I see that, I've got to move on past that. So I don't mean any harm, but I've got to move on past that for many, many, many reasons.
100%. And I will say too, that is also, just so you know, guys, if you accidentally even come across too personal and people report you, especially more than once, you can actually get blocked from LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you know that. So be very, very careful when you're messaging people. Again, be personable, not personal. Okay?
That is perfect. That needs to be a takeaway from today. Like that's a great way to say it. No, really, it is, Catherine.
It's true. I mean, you that's how you want to make a connection, right? And here's another thing too. Be enthusiastic, guys, and you're messaging to candidates. Talk to them. If you're a recruiter or an HR person, and we talked about this in our last segment with Ann Goodman about being enthusiastic about your culture and the position in the job description. And our next guest was always terrific with that as well, Miss Heather Rios. But let me tell you, it's just as important when you're messaging them and you're contacting them and you're communicating with them to set up interviews about offers, things like that, to show enthusiasm. these candidates want to know that you're excited about them too. You obviously want to, candidates, you're supposed to show enthusiasm for the job, but I'm going to turn that around. Recruiters and HR, that is on you too.
Oh my goodness, is it ever? Yeah.
Yes, you need to show enthusiasm for that candidate, make them feel welcome. This is a two-way street. Okay? Get out there, go, hey, I'm so excited to have you. Let's get this done. Yada, yada. Make sure they have all their information. Don't leave them hanging. And if you ghost somebody, recruiters, I will find you. Don't do it. It's so hateful. Yeah. Yes, nothing is worse than that. You're making all of us look bad when you do it. Do not ghost people. There is never a reason to ghost somebody, ever. Even the few times that I've had a candidate that just wouldn't stop, no matter how many times I had to tell them they didn't get the role, and Foster, you've been there, I still give them the dignity of saying, I am so sorry that this opportunity didn't work out. Here are some other resources. I will reach out to you if I get anything in the future. I wish you the best of luck.
Dignity is a great word.
Yeah. And you're building a relationship, guys. A lot of times we don't know we are, but we're building a relationship, and you never know. And especially as much technology as we have, you never know when you're going to cross paths with that person again. So what do they remember about you when you had that first engagement? Foster.
Yes. It's true. It's true. That and I've had people, actually recently, all of a sudden this past week, I've been bombarded with people that are coming back to me that have worked with me at different times that are coming back. Hey, I remember you. I liked how you responded to me. How, what can I do? They came back, and some of these people are, by the way, not people that got offers through me. Okay. They just remembered that I treated them like a human being, and I gave them dignity, and I gave them respect. And I circle back, and I'm not perfect. I have made mistakes and taken a little too long to get back to a candidate or something like that. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be perfect. That's not right.
That's part of the game, man.
That's part of the game. It happens. And I apologize when it happens. It does happen. But recruiters, treat your candidates like people and treat them as valuable as they are. Okay. These people, especially if you're planning to make them an offer, all that, you better treat them like they're worth it. Because right now, trust me, they have options. I know people think, oh, COVID's coming to an end, yada, yada, yada. I can just have anybody I want. They're being picky, and good for them.
A lot of times, given COVID or not, a lot of times the hiring managers have such a stringent requirement of what they're looking for. Guys, a lot of those people are not in the market. We may have to reach outside of the Dallas-Fort Worth market to get who we're looking for. So are you even nice? I mean, is it even nice to talk to you? I mean, that kind of thing. I have made the mistake as a young recruiter moving too fast. I didn't mean to, but I ended up having another job that the person that I slighted, I needed to go back to because they were perfect for the position. And then I had to call them back, and they looked at me, or, back in the day we met in person, they looked at me like, Foster, are you for real?
Yep.
And I remember that. I remember that mistake. Don't count it to my heart. Count it to the system.
That's right. And Michaela, I wanted to ask your opinion on one more thing, because this is something that I've been seeing a lot of lately. Is there are a lot of people that are very stressed, and we've addressed this a lot on the show because it started with COVID, right? And then there's all the political climate and all of that. There is a lot of stress on professionals, on job seekers. Oh, they're professionals too, but the hiring managers and job seekers. There's a lot of stress. So what would be your advice to help counter, very quickly, to help counter that stress as you're communicating with either an employer or a job seeker?
To decrease the stress in the person you're communicating with?
Yeah, or in yourself? To let them know both, I guess, but I guess more the other person.
Okay, really quickly, and this is something I've said a lot too, is grace. Give yourself grace, give other people grace. And it goes back to something you were saying, Catherine, about giving people dignity, Foster, giving people respect and understanding, just being kind, and to understand that there is a lot of stress going on now. And I mean, it goes back to the golden rule of do unto others as you want them to do unto you. Like I would that's grace. And since I only had a minute there, that's what I want to fall on for that. It's a good lesson.
I completely agree. And the human understanding aspect right now during COVID with things like dogs running back behind you or if you hear a child in the background, normally, obviously you wouldn't want that. And job seekers, please do your best to minimize that type of distraction. But if it happens, employers, don't be so harsh. It's not helped right now. And thank you, Michaela, for coming on today. We enjoyed it as always. It was great to get that sourcing perspective. Bye.
Bye, Kayla.
All right. So now we have the wonderful, the one and only Miss Heather Rios is here with us today, who went from being my favorite candidate to my favorite client to just a good friend. Let's bring her on.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Can you hear me? Can you see me? Yep, I'm good. How's it going?
Hey, Heather.
Good.
Good. I'm glad.
Oh, I know. She's so fun. But first, we need to congratulate you. So Heather shared some very exciting news with me. She landed a position this week.
Oh, yeah?
Yay!
Oh, we got to put that out today after this show. We got to put that out on the Who You Know Job Networking show.
That's right. We got to congratulate her.
Yeah, it was a journey. I have to say, first time in my life. It's been a month since I was out of work, which never happens, but it was actually a blessing in disguise for me. So it was really a good time for me to disconnect with Catherine as my really good encourager to do so. But yeah, it was brutal. I'm not going to lie to you. Listening to Michaela just now and working with recruiters myself in this position, it was kind of eye-opening for me. I'm not going to lie to you. I know Catherine and I've shared a lot of struggles with you with recruiters, but it's also made me be the best HR manager out there for the new company to not do what other recruiters did to me. So
yes, 100%. In fact, and I will share this with my audience. Heather had one experience that was so bad that I was moved to reach out to that recruiter and send them a message and just go, hey, this was really messed up. I hope I hope that you change. It was not okay. It was a really, really bad experience. And it's something that could easily have traumatized a lesser person than Heather. Heather is particularly strong and particularly resilient.
Heather's an HR.
She is. Oh, yeah, she's an HR. She's an HR professional. But it could have shattered a lesser person. So, I mean, good grief. Like, what is wrong with people? So that communication thing, treating people with dignity. But Heather, so you and I have been through a lot of negotiations together.
Yes, we have.
From negotiating your salary and your onboarding package to many candidates after that. So let's start with, what are some of the most important things on the company side when you're going into an offer to consider?
Sure. So, companies really have to be ready. HR is kind of the last person to get a budget, which is really frustrating for me, as Catherine knows, as my number one recruiter. When I go into a company, when I start recruiting, I ask, where's my budget? Because I need to know. I need to know exactly what I'm looking for.
Right.
I rewrite that job description because it's easy for somebody just to throw words on a piece of paper and then say, this is what we want. But I really take the time to make sure that I know that compensation package, for that specific job and that specific job title. So it's really important to A, understand your business, B, have a budget, C, have all of the executives on the same page as you. That's the number one rule.
That's number one.
Number one, because if you don't have one executive who is out of it, you're just going to be, stuck. That's unfortunate. I've sat in many, 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 many meetings with that. Also open and be honest with your managers as well. Ask them exactly what they're looking for, because sometimes leadership will say exactly what they're looking for, but managers kind of don't have a say in that as well. So they're like, that's not what I'm looking for to run my department. So always just have that communication. That's huge, communication. Number two, I would say the biggest thing as well is understanding, again, the compensation for your area. for the size of your company, for the education behind this job, and how many years experience a candidate has. But then also look at, are we a startup? Have we been in the Bay Area for a long time? We're in the Bay Area, but we have multiple remote locations all over the U.S. How are we going to deal with that as well? So,
right, 100%.
Yeah. So ultimately, it's up to your HR advocate to put together that package for your VP of finance or your finance department, so that they understand, as an HR advocate, what you need from them going forward. So
100%.
It's just, getting together with the executive team, making sure that we're all on the same page, and then running with it before you even throw out that you're looking for an opportunity. Because here's what I cannot stand. If you're a recruiter and you don't have this job lined up with either another client or within the company, please don't advertise it.
Yeah.
Because what's happening, and I saw this a lot this month too, is what's happening is, well, we're kind of making this role. Totally get that, and I understand that 100%. However, it makes somebody like myself, who's a seasoned professional, not want to work with you then. Because it makes me think that if you couldn't have put together my own job description and what you're looking for in the company, what am I in there, right? So it's really important to have your ducks in a row as
we lost Heather. There she is. She came back to us.
There we go. Just to make sure that everybody's on the same page. You have all of your ducks in a row. All of your compensation packages are there. I highly recommend using PayScale. I know there's other. I love PayScale. I do.
I do too. Yeah.
I think that it's the best analytical, around the whole entire U.S. It's not just within.
And if you have an unusual position, and Heather, you and I worked some of these together that were very unique, reach out to other people in that position that are working and find out what people are making. People will talk to you. Go, hey, I'm a recruiter. I'm trying to build up this job description.
Well, we have a network. That's right.
Yes, because let me tell you, there were a couple of times that Heather, would send me a budget, and I'd go, "Are you sure?" Because it wasn't her fault. It's that somebody told her this was a reasonable salary, and I said, "Nope, that's not it."
Yep.
So you're absolutely right. And with the offer, guys, too, this is something that Heather did that I thought was spectacular. She would come to me before sending an offer letter, before calling that candidate, and say, Catherine, what is it going to take to get them to sign the offer? Because once I send that letter, I don't want to negotiate. I don't want to do anything else. I want to know what they need, and let's get it done. I highly recommend that approach to companies. I highly recommend that approach. Know before you get to the point of offer what's going on. And candidates, this falls on you too. Communicate accurately. What drives me nuts, and I never let a candidate get away with this, is, well, we'll see how I feel when we get there. No.
Oh my God. Yeah. I've heard that one myself.
Also, I want to encourage candidates too. It's our job to go in and play ball for you. So it's our job. And I always tell them too, I say, I'm your biggest cheerleader. So just throw out a number to me. I can't ask you what you're making right now, but what would your salary expectations be? And in a real world, a beautiful world, what would you look for in a compensation package? Because then I can play off of that. Like, don't tell me something like, well, I don't want to, I don't want to price myself out. I don't want to too high. Stop doing that. You are worth everything that you think you're worth.
Yes.
You have to show that recruiter, that HR person, that I'm worth this. So coming in the saying, I'm not going to go below $100,000. Okay, great. That's a great baseline. Let's talk about that. Let's build on that. But stand up for yourself, and say, have your worth. Show somebody your worth. That goes
100%. 100%. And Jean-Pierre just asked a question about, and by the way, I love how interactive you are, dude. About are people trying to lowball right now salaries because of COVID? There are some weirdos out there doing that. Not gonna lie, there are some people out there doing it, and there are some companies that are pulling that whole, we'll come in the door and then later we'll give you a raise. Whenever a company says that to you, even the ones that mean it, the ones that really truly mean it, it's still not a healthy approach, and it still tells you something about the company. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to set a specific timetable, and Heather and I have had to put this in offers for people, and actually at my at my insistence too, I've done this for my candidates, to have a specific timetable. At 90 days, we'll have a review with a chance to get up to this increase. Have that in your offer letter. Set a time frame. Don't let it be general, because here's what's going to happen. You will get in the door and they will hem and haw and postpone, and it will never happen. Even if they intend for it to, it just won't, because they get busy, entrepreneurs get busy, managers get busy, and it just won't happen. So make sure all of that gets into your offer letter.
Your morale is not the best upon entry into that job.
That's right. 100%.
What you may have to deal with, and you're scared. Am I going to be able to do my job? All the jobs that I took, my number one questions that I asked were, guys, are you going to put handcuffs on me? Are you going to allow me to do what I do to make it successful?
Right.
That's
right.
Beautiful.
That's huge.
Yeah, totally agree with that 100%. It's very, like I said, it's just, you have to make sure that you are there and you're the one that's, doing what's great for the company and for the candidate, and making sure that it's a good fit. Mm-hmm. But then you also have to make sure that they're compensated well, as
right.
I have to say, I want to say about 15 interviews at 15 different companies in a month. And 3 of them gave me the salary package, 3 out of 15. And that wasn't even me asking. And that was after, I have to say it, that was after the 4th panel interview.
Wow.
So it's definitely getting a lot more. Here's the other thing I want to tell recruiters too. Don't drag it out. Sorry.
Oh, yes. Do not do that. Oh, yes.
Do not drag it out. So I had one interview with, the panel interviews had 2 people apiece. So I was up to my 5th 2-people panel, and I had 3 more.
Wow.
If I made it to it took about 3 weeks. So I get it. There's talent everywhere, and you get to pick from the cream of the crop. But come on,
it doesn't take that long to make a hiring decision. Give me a break. Any company, even with unless you are hiring the CEO of your company, I don't want to hear anything about 5 steps. That's right. Ludicrous. There is no 5 steps. Okay, no, there is. For a customer service type person, or that level of 1. Okay, that's how many in person or Zoom, in this case, meetings there need to be. Okay, management 2, maybe 3. Okay, director level 3. Stop. Right. Okay, and then stop. Don't drag it out. And with the offers too, when you take a long time to get an offer to a candidate, that looks bad. Even if you end up getting them, they've lost all momentum, all enthusiasm. Trust me, I see it all the time. Heather and I have had to deal with it, and it was not her fault. I just want to caveat that statement. The one time that ever happened with Heather, it was not her fault. And I know, Foster, you've dealt with this. It kills momentum, and it brings them in with the whole wrong energy. And candidates, the flip side of that is, do not be difficult when it comes time for offer. Don't go, I forgot to tell you, I scheduled a 1-month vacation 2 weeks from now. Sound familiar, Heather? Not that you did that, but we had a candidate that did that to us. Do not do that. Do not do that. Tell them up front. Be upfront.
Yeah. Yeah, be upfront. We don't need any surprises, because if you're giving me surprises at this point in my engagement with you, they're going to be surprises when I go to work, and they're going to be surprises and not going to allow me to be able to do what you hired me to do.
That's right.
Yes, and I will tell you, I have had clients that will pull an offer because a candidate suddenly starts giving new information at the time of offer, and it's not even that they weren't okay with what they were asking; it's that all of a sudden the story changed. And that was the problem. And don't tell people one number during the interview process and then change it at offer. And don't tell, because you're going to know before the offer comes where the job's at. I will give you another one, candidates. This is my pet peeve. Don't tell me when I send you the offer letter. By the way, all of my candidates know an offer letter is coming because we've verbally negotiated and all that. Don't tell me I need to talk to my spouse. Why did you not already do that? What is wrong with you? You should have already, when you were going through the interview process, you should have talked to your spouse. When I was going back and forth negotiating this with you, you should have talked to your spouse. Don't tell me that when you get to the offer letter stage. What's wrong with you? Come on, people.
Right.
Come on.
I think it's really important. I think everybody goes back to old school ways. That to me is old school ways. Well, let me talk to my spouse and get back to you. Yeah. Do you hear not to put a male female spin, but do you ever hear a male say, "Let me talk to my spouse and get back to you"? It's very
actually yes, but rarely. But rarely.
I have to. It's rare, but
it's about a seven. It's about a 70-30 split.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like me, I'll use me as an example because this is the freshest example that I had. But every single interview that I studied for, because when I go on interviews, I learn the company, I learn who I'm meeting with, so that if they throw a monkey wrench at me and ask me, "Have you looked at my website? Do you know what we do?" I know everything. Just so I'm prepared. But also, talk to your significant other, talk to your partner, talk to yourself, talk to them afterwards and tell them how it went. That's the beautiful part about interviewing, is that the world is all yours, right? You get to go and meet all these new people. You get to get out there. You get to, show your talents and just talk to people afterwards and let them know how it goes. Mm-hmm. I've talked to Catherine afterwards. I've talked to my girlfriends. I've talked to other people, like, I had the weirdest interview, or I had the best interview, or I think I answered this question, correctly or not. Talk to each other. Reach out on LinkedIn. I've met so many great people on LinkedIn, I would say, over this past month looking for a job. Talk.
Absolutely. Whoop, my camera. I'm sorry. My camera just died. Woo. Catherine just fell off the face of the earth. That's what happened.
Companies, guys, listen to this, please. Companies, if you have a pipeline candidate like Heather Rios, show some excitement about if you know that Heather is what we're shooting for, show some excitement. Don't be a robot. Show some excitement. Yes. You're not giving away anything. Tell Heather what excites you about your position, what's expected of Heather, why you think Heather would be a good fit in that position, or something like that. Give Heather some moxie.
Right. 100%. And recruiters, what I do, and HR professionals, what I do is I circle back at the end of an interview. Obviously, I let them ask their questions and all that, but then I go over with them. Okay, so these are the things that I feel like line up really great. Right. Culturally, this is why I think you'll fit in. And then, but here's some concerns, some gray areas, we'll kind of see how that pans out. And I'm real straightforward with people. And I really encourage that. And candidates, if you're not getting that, ask the recruiter at the end. Yes. Hey, what do you think? What's your feel? You work with this company, or you're part of this company. What is your take on how I would fit in to this position and into this organization? Ask those questions. That's so important.
Another thing too is that when you're interviewing as well as a candidate for these positions, always ask. It doesn't matter if you're going to do a panel and you're going to ask several people. I always engage my whomever's interviewing me, and I always ask, tell me something. If you were to hire me, or when I'm hired, usually I'll say, when I'm hired, what would be the first 90 days that you see that I need to tackle within the organization? Right. That is a great question, because they go, oh, wow, shoot, they just put me, against the wall there, And usually I'll say, so when I'm hired, first 90 days, what would you expect me to start focusing on? What would you like to see change in the first 90 days? That
100%.
Pandora's box, where they're like, wow, she's really thinking about this and making change when she comes in, or he, comes in to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't ask a CEO, so what's your goal in 5 years? Say, don't ask those questions. Kind of get a little bit, you're interviewing them too, right? We're all interviewing somebody because we're there more than we're with our family. We need to make sure it's a good fit. Make sure that you're just asking the right questions to the right people.
Yes. And 100% on that. And also, I will further that and say, recruiters do not ask cookie cutter, lame questions to the candidates. Okay? Don't do it. Yeah. Nobody cares what tree they want to be. Okay? Nobody cares. Nobody cares what their goal is in 5 or 7 years. Ask them who they are, what they're, what they've got, what they can bring, those type of things. And the best question to start off an interview, and I do this with every interview, is I ask the candidate, tell me what's important to you in your next role. Or I say that to them, tell me what's important to you in your next role. That will tell you so much. First of all, that will tell you where their priority is, because the first thing out of their mouth is what's really on their mind. Is it culture? Is it PTO? Is it remote? Is it money? Whatever their priority is, that will come out first. And so that's a great way to start an interview. And then you filter it from there. You go on. Do not sit there with some lame list of questions and go down it and sound like a robot. Okay. It's weird. And you're also missing information. You're missing information, recruiters and HR people, when you do that.
You're so missing. I love interviewing people. I know Catherine thinks I'm crazy. I love it. I mean, I should be a recruiter for a living, but I love interviewing people. I have such a great way.
I do too, Heather. Yeah.
It's so great to know. And I tell them, I'm not the big bad wolf. Let's take a deep breath before you meet with me. It's just you and I getting to know each other. I need to know if it's a good culture fit for the company. We're not going to talk tech. We're not going to talk all of that, because you'll get that with the other managers. That's just you and I have a conversation. And then
right. And I'm gonna cut you off real quick because we're at the end of your time. Sorry. I love you and I could talk to you all day long. So we do need to let you go. And guys, connect with Heather Rios on LinkedIn. We'll drop her profile into the comments. She will reach out to you. She will connect with you. She will talk to you. Of course, Foster and I, please connect with us. Recruiters, HR professionals, we're here for you too. Job seekers. And then also, guys, if you are looking for a position, go to careerlaunch2020.com. We have a lot of great integrations there. And thank you, Heather. Bye.
Congratulations, Heather.
Yes, and congratulations. And Jean-Pierre, real quick, you're asking about the MBA and should you apply to positions that require lower levels of education? Absolutely. Just make it all about your abilities. Education, that can go either way. So apply according to your abilities. And that's what I would say about that. Our next guest, I'm very excited about. Her name is Deanna Stinson-Reese. She is a very fascinating woman and has some very interesting ideas. And she's got a wonderful specialty of diversity and inclusion. Her content is amazing. Please connect with her on LinkedIn. And let's bring her on, Miss Deanna Stinson-Reese.
Hey.
Let's see. Oh, you're off to the side. There she goes. Hey.
There she is.
What's up? How y'all doing?
Very good. And first of all, I would like to say that I love your glasses. Can we just start off by asking where you got your glasses? Those are chic.
Yeah, they are.
It's a private eyeglass or optometrist out here that I go to. It's in like Pasadena, Texas, and they have like really unique frames. And so that's what I do. That's where I go.
Yeah, I need help in that arena.
No, I love it. So I was very excited to have you on. And by the way, let's get this out of the way. Last time you were not able to join us because a hurricane chased you away. How is your home?
We're good. So the last hurricane we had, we were like stranded. Granted, our house didn't flood, which was Hurricane Harvey, but we were stranded. And I'm not from the South. I am from Chicago. So when this hurricane came around and they were like sending out these voluntary evacuation orders based on the trajectory of the hurricane, my parents were in town and I was like, you know what, we're out of here. Like they sent it out like that morning of the show and I was like, yeah, we're out of here. And it dawned on me like as we were packing, like crap, I got the show today. So I am so sorry, y'all, that I late. So sorry.
It's okay. It's not your fault. And God love you. You let me know in the middle of all of that with plenty of time. So to plan around. So thank you for that. But I just wanted to make sure you're okay. So you and I had a great conversation recently about some of the issues with diversity and inclusion and hiring. And this is something Foster and I have talked about. It's something that gets on my last nerve. And I just addressed this on Foster's show, the Who You Know show.
Yeah, we did.
We talked about this because, you see ageism, obviously racial discrimination against women. Let's, first I want to hear from you. What do you think are the biggest types of prejudice that we're seeing and discrimination that we're seeing in the job market right now?
Ageism and race, for sure. See it. I've seen it probably, I would say easily for like the past decade. And for sure in the last, I'll say 5 or so years, because I do work with professionals and companies on both ends of the sides of my business. And so I get a lot of professionals that they get discriminated against because of their age.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's the demographic factors around race that hinders a lot of minorities from moving into senior level leadership roles.
Yes, and I want to talk about that too. I love that you said it that way, because I did a lot of research into this subject recently, and you know, people always talk about the pay discrepancy, right? But what I discovered is that the bigger issue, because the numbers that you hear are the summary, right? It's not, you know, this position to this position. It's a more general summary. But what I discovered that was very disturbing to me is how much fewer minorities, and especially the African American men and women, are discriminated against. There's just so much lower of a percentage of them in these management type roles, and in these executive type roles. What do you think is causing that? Because I can't.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I was processing.
No, that was it. That was kind of the end of my thought.
Okay. There's quite a few things that play into that. You do have systemic racism that is really at the core of a lot of systems and policies that are ingrained in a lot of companies that have been around for so many years. And some of it is unintentional, so it's more covert because it's learned behavior, it's learned perceptions. And then some of it is intentional because one of the things that I work with companies on when they are reaching out to see, you know, how do we be more equitable, you know, and more inclusive with the minorities within our organization. And it starts with the conversation. And part of that conversation is, you know, as someone that benefits from certain privileges, you know, what would make you want to put that privilege at risk, right? Because it's kind of like, if I'm benefiting from, let's say, a law that's in place, we're going to use a very vague hypothetical scenario. Let's say there's a law in place that says all women that have white glasses get to, you know, walk on the car lot and get a car for free, right? Like you get to walk on the car lot.
Oh, I want that law. I want that law.
You gotta get the frames, Catherine.
He said you gotta get the frames.
I will be getting those frames too. Don't think it's not going to happen. It is.
But let's say that's the law, right? Let's say this is the law, and this is a privilege that I have as someone that has white eyeglass frames. What would want to compel me to change this structure or this system or this process that's in place for other people to have access to these brand new cars like I have access to?
Right.
Why would I want to give up this privilege, right? So it's kind of a similar mindset when you think about why this is an issue in companies in terms of not seeing a lot of minorities, and that includes women of color, not just African American women, just women period, and then women of color in senior level leadership roles. It is really about what has been created as a norm. And when you challenge that norm, you have to find ways to really think about, why do you want this norm to change from the perspective of a person who benefits from the norm? Your norm harms other people and you benefit from it. So it's really a challenging space. And unfortunately, I see a lot of tokenism when I go into companies. So they'll hire a Black woman or a Black male or an indigenous male or female or Asian or any nationality or race that is not white to fall into your diversity and inclusion, chief diversity and inclusion officer, or people in culture officer, or VP of diversity and inclusion, in these, you know, roles that deal with people and race and culture. But you won't really see them as your CTO or your CIO or your VP of finance, or, you know, any of these other, or CEO for that matter, or COO. You won't see them in those roles. You'll see companies that will say, oh, let's bring in Foster for our chief diversity officer role. Now we're inclusive. Now we're more diverse. We're all about, you know, being inclusive in the workplace. So
and that's not it. And Foster and I have talked about this, is that to hire with true diversity and to create true diversity in your company, you need to be hiring completely excluding the wrapping, as Foster and I call it. So age, gender, skin color, sexual identity, whatever it is. Nobody cares. Okay. How can you do the job? What are your qualifications? And I want to share with my audience a few stories that were, one that I've witnessed and I was a part of, and then one that I was told recently that were very deeply disturbing, because a lot of people have this idea that this isn't real, that this isn't a real problem. And I think that's because a lot of people don't see it, right? We don't know if we don't see. And so one of these, and I shared this already with you before, Deanna, is that I worked at a company a few years ago, and I ended up quitting, and by the way, reporting them for this. I had it happen multiple times that upper level management would email me and say, we don't want any more Black people for this role. We don't want any more Mexicans at this location. We don't want any more women over here.
In there, yeah.
Yeah, Foster. We've talked about this. And this happened in a large national company with tens upon thousands of employees. This was happening. And I would get these messages from people high up in the organization. It was disgusting. Okay. This happens all the time. Another one that was really sad to me. I just spoke with another diversity and inclusion specialist recently, a Hispanic male. And he told me that he would apply for a job. I think we brought this up on the Who You Know show, Foster. He would apply for a job with his full name and not get a call. He would resend the resume and take off his last name. And all of a sudden, he got a call for the exact same role with the exact same resume, the exact same information. So folks, this is a real issue. This is a problem. I have some ideas about getting rid of it, but Deanna, I would love to hear your take on some suggestions for using true diversity and how to hire with true diversity in a company, as opposed to the token hires, as you so eloquently put it.
Yes, because that is a real thing. And it's so funny that you mentioned that, because I literally did the same thing. I would apply for jobs with my full name, and then I'll take off my first name, Deanna, and just put D. Stinson, and got way more responses.
Oh,
I couldn't be identified. You don't know if I'm white, Black. You don't know. Stinson could be white. It can be Black. And so I saw way more traction. So that is definitely a real thing. And part of one of my suggestions, which ties in so eloquently, is, removing a lot of this unnecessary demographic data on the front end of screening. And I've worked on the back end of hiring. I know how important the demographic data is for EEOC data and whatnot. However, that's not necessary at the beginning phase of screening a candidate. If they take off their name, and if they don't have to identify as male or female, and one application that I saw a couple of days ago on LinkedIn, this poor girl, she reached out to me after I commented on her post. They asked her if she was transgender on the application. It asked, "Are you transgender?" And it was a drop down.
Why?
Companies are asking intrusive questions that are unnecessary. And while someone may try to
hold on real quick. I'm so sorry. I need a clarification on this. This is now stuck in my brain. Was this on an actual written an electronic application process or written application?
Electronic.
They put this in their system.
Yep. She took a screenshot because she was like, I don't know how to respond. Like, what do I do? And I commented on her post, and then she reached out to me in my DMs because I was telling her, I would not answer it, especially if they don't have a option for do not want to answer or something like that. I wouldn't answer. And I said, you might want to reconsider if you even want to continue applying with that company. And so I get on the back end certain data that you want to collect to demonstrate and show and prove, yes, we are, a diverse organization. We are including people of different ableness and whatnot.
But on the back end.
On the back end.
On the back end.
Then go ahead and, get whatever demographic data. Somebody's sexual orientation or sexual preference, still data that is not really necessary. That's
that's very disturbing.
It is.
That's highly disturbing. And by the way, we have a couple of questions here real quick, Deanna, and I'm going to let you answer these. So we have Jean-Pierre and DR are asking basically the same question as, my name may come across ethnic. Should I use it or should I alter it?
So here's the deal. Unfortunately, altering your name. Like I've altered my name before. It has worked to get me more traction. But then on the flip side, I challenge my clients to say, do you want to work for a company that won't consider you because of who you really are? So I usually leave that up to the client to decide, or the job seeker. I'm very transparent, like I'm telling you now. When you do alter your name, sometimes that will yield the results you're looking for in terms of the amount of responses you're getting. But what about the quality of the responses that you're getting? Because if they can't and won't accept your application as a qualified application because you have your full name on there, that might not be a company whose culture you want to work within or add to, for that matter. Because I don't believe in fitting into a culture. I'm going to add to your culture. I'm not going to fit in. And so
I like that.
and so you really want to think about it from that perspective. It may cause your job search to take a little bit longer, but it's well worth it if you're going to get within an organization that's not going to be unnecessarily stressful to you, because there's a lot of people in roles that they would love if it wasn't for the company culture or the type of people that they were working with. So I strongly suggest to take that into consideration.
100%. And we have another question. What happens if you select not to specify? Like you were talking about, like the choose to not answer on the EEOCs. Typically, technically nothing, or supposed to be nothing, but
supposed to be, yeah.
Supposed to be nothing. But in theory,
why are you asking that question?
Yeah,
Exactly.
some people may still discriminate because you chose not to answer, so they're going to assume it's an answer that they don't want. One thing that this is one of my solutions that I'm trying to work on, and I'd love both of your opinions on this, is I am actually working with a developer right now to develop an ATS that when a resume is put in, scrubs out name, dates, anything that pictures, anything that could possibly, anything that mentions religion, because some people have worked for a church or something like that. Anything that could potentially cause discrimination, scrubbed out. So what you see is, this is what this person can do.
Yeah.
This is what they have to offer. And even when you first reach out to them to contact them for an interview, you still don't get to see their name. You just get to email them or whatever, you set it up. And so it's not until you actually are talking to them that you'll finally kind of have an idea. Because I have this idea that a lot, and because I've seen this a lot, that a lot of clients and a lot of hiring companies won't discriminate once they decide that they like you, right? Once they think that you're qualified, they'll, they'll kind of let it go. So what are y'all's thoughts on something like that?
I'll let you go first, Foster. I know I've been talking a lot.
It's okay. You're a guest. You're supposed to.
You're the expert on this one. I wonder why. It makes me wonder why a lot of things are that way. What's state your number one question again? State your number one
basically,
question
basically what I want to know is, what are your thoughts on having an ATS that scrubs out all of the potentially discriminatory information and leaves it to just, here's the candidate and what they can do?
Yeah, I have had that happen before, because I've been the fortunately, God's blessed me to be the gatekeeper for Fortune 10 companies. And when you're in that position, there's a lot of things, but fortunately they gave me the strength to make the decisions that I made. I don't know what I think, but I knew what was trying to be done. I knew what was trying to be, and as a third party company, my God, we hear about all kinds of people stealing stuff, and big companies like what I work for, the IBMs and these things, we could get away with a little bit more in some cases. We don't mean to, but you know how these things, we're so litigious a society that we understand what you're trying to do. I didn't really have a problem with it. Now, some of my leadership that were above me did.
Oh, yeah. That's true to me. Exactly. What about you, Deanna? What do you think about a process like that?
I absolutely love that, to be 100% honest. And it also forces candidates, which is something that I work on specifically with my company, to really convey their value, right? Understand their value proposition. And so I'm all about results. I tell any client that reaches out, like, oh, I want help, with my job search. I want you to redo my resume. I want you to help me rebrand as a professional, whatever it may be. it's kind of like, all right, we focus on results here. You know, you have to understand and know how you contribute to the bottom line. So if you can scrub out that demographic information that's usually used for discriminating, whether it's conscious or unconscious discrimination, it then allows you to focus on what they are really bringing to the table, to the role, to the organization, to the industry as a whole. So I think that's an amazing idea.
Okay. Any other last minute suggestions that you want to give us to kind of wrap this up to help with true diversity hiring?
I would definitely say making sure you have a diverse committee, if you would, of individuals that are involved in that decision-making process. Because if you don't have representation at the table for the final decision that needs to be made, then it's going to be hard, even when you scrub that. Even if a company say, all right, we're going to scrub it, we're going to follow Catherine's model. You don't have the representation at the table when it comes down to the final decisions. You still run into those unintentional and intentional biases that come into play. So
I like that. I like the diversity at the table. I think that's absolutely imperative. So thank you so much, Deanna, for joining us. I really appreciate it. I'm glad you didn't have another hurricane. And
Deanna, I haven't been through one yet.
and I'm going to need you to please send me the link to get those glasses, because legit, I'm going to have to check these people out. Okay, I'm over here just green with envy. So have a great rest of the day. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you soon. I love her.
Awesome. That was awesome.
Isn't she spectacular? Yeah, she's really something. And right now we have another great gentleman who's also, like both of us, I can't talk now, Foster. I can't talk anymore. But Michael Goldberg, that is right. He's the host of his own show. Another recruiting professional, knows this subject inside and out. Let's bring him on. Here comes Michael.
There he is. There's my buddy.
There he is.
Hey guys,
one of our first guests ever, actually, on Career Launch. And so I'm very glad to have you back on. How are you today?
Thanks. I'm doing great. How about you guys?
Doing good. It's good to have another person from the Metroplex joining in with us. We are very, very active. I constantly tell people the size and the impact of our network right here in Dallas-Fort Worth.
Right. And real quick, I'm just going to throw this out there. Make sure, again, guys, that you are connecting to all of us. All the guests on this show love to communicate. They love to help. We'll drop all the links to their profiles in the comments. And if you are looking for a job, go to careerlaunch2020.com. So we were just talking to Deanna. I'm sure you heard some of it about, the hiring process and diversity, inclusion, and all that. So real quick, I just want to kind of get your take, Michael. What are you seeing? So I know you've been working with a lot of candidates, right? What are you seeing in terms of discrimination during COVID versus pre-COVID? Has there been any difference?
Wow. You're coming hard.
That's a loaded one in there.
I am coming hard. Locked and loaded.
Okay. So no, I'm not seeing discrimination in the clients that I'm working with. So that's
I can understand.
That's good.
That's good.
And I don't allow for it. I won't work with a client if they're going to start asking stupid questions.
Same. I don't do it. Yeah. I fire. And by the way, recruiters, because we have some recruiters tuning in. Yes, recruiters, we have some of you guys tuning in. If you have a client that tries to pull that nonsense, fire them. Fire that client. I have done it.
I had an internal client, one of those big companies, unfortunately, that I worked for. I had an internal client with some mandates that came from above. And then here I am trying to figure out how to handle this without getting us in a world of trouble. So I had a lot of meetings with folks that didn't like what I had to tell them. And I didn't know if I was going to come out of there with my job. But I made it. I made it.
Oh my goodness. All right. So Michael, we have you here mostly today because we've kind of gone through the whole hiring process, right? And now we're kind of to the onboarding stage. And I know you know about this and you know how hectic it can be and how crazy it can be. So what are some of the things that you think are the most important for both hiring companies and for candidates to remember about the onboarding process?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at the onboarding process, let's start with the employer. So one of the things that I've been able to do, and I took a Six Sigma approach to every company I've worked with on onboarding. The most important thing is to have everything day one, ready to go, no excuses for your new employee. Nothing says, yeah, you're here, great. Than not having a computer or maybe a cell phone or just being connected or sticking them in front of a computer and just saying, watch this, and then we'll connect in 2 weeks. Right.
Yeah.
So
Right.
It's about that, the first week in interaction. Like I heard, it's interesting. Somebody that I know is telling me that on her first day of the job, and since then she has left, but on the first day of her job, her manager and the colleague said, "Hey, we're going to lunch. We'll see you soon."
Mm-hmm.
It was her first day.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the ultimate, what, right? So,
ooh, yeah, that's a great big bird, isn't it?
It's easy to see the writing on the wall. So I think that's the most important piece is engaging, having, for hiring or for managers, have a training plan. One of the things that I always did when I brought on new recruiters in the corporate world was to have a 2-week training program that included them getting out there in the business and spending time to learn it, right? Because a recruiter's success is going to depend upon how much they know in the departments they support. How do you do 100%. That? You don't sit behind a desk. You get out there and do the work of the workers.
Build those relationships.
And build the relationships. Otherwise, people look at you and they'll go, oh, just another HR person coming through.
Yeah.
Everybody straighten up, fly right?
Oh, yeah.
The second thing, make sure you review the organizational structure. Have different people explain that organizational structure to get different viewpoints. I mean, keep the messages consistent and the same.
Yes.
And then finally, the technology. Don't skimp out and not train them on at least, all of the capabilities of the system, but also be prepared to set expectations. Like, let's use the recruiter. Or let's use a nurse, right? In terms of the technology that they have to use. If I don't show you what certain machines do or how certain, the iPads and how they update in their whatever software programs they're using, and I skimp out on something, that could be the matter of life and death or missing a key point in something, right?
100%.
Right. So it's really, it's that individualized attention. It's the technology, and it's spending time in the business to make sure that you are a true business partner.
100%. And I will tell you that as a recruiter, and I mean, you're on this side of the desk too, nothing irritates me more than to hear from one of my candidates. They show up for their first day of work and nothing's going on. They're just sitting there.
Like in the lobby or just at their desk?
Either way.
On both sides.
Either way.
That's why I think having some type of training plan is
100%. It's crucial. Key. And the plan, I like that word plan. Companies, HR people, make sure there's a plan in place for your new hires. There needs to be a program to welcome people. In fact, Heather Rios, who we had on earlier, she had a great thing that she did. She'd have people send her a picture and she put together a little bio of them. She'd introduce them to the whole company on day one. So this person all day long is getting messages going, hey, it's so great to have you, from everyone that was there. And was really getting to know people. It encouraged the team to reach out and go, hey, here's my cell number. If you need help, here's my cell number. It's so great to have you on. That kind of thing is very engaging and enlightening. And I think that really helps. And on the candidate side, I think that they also need to be engaging too, right? Don't just sit there with your hands folded and wait for people to tell you what to do. Engage.
Yeah.
Start going, kick into gear. Well, show enthusiasm.
A couple of those aerospace companies that I worked for had an itinerary, and they stuck to it. I mean, you're talking about a bunch of engineers, so they want to whittle it down anyway. And it really was helpful for me to know what we were going to do. Now, we weren't necessarily together on the timelines, but that's understandable. I mean, I can deal with that.
Yeah, and be okay with. So, to your point, Foster, I would totally be flexible on that, because did we hit at 11 o'clock? Were we doing this? Or were we going to lunch? Or what if we had to go to lunch early because we had a meeting and I wanted them in on the meeting on something else? I mean, just have a plan written out, have that itinerary, as Foster called it, written out. Number one, it puts you at ease that you've onboarded your person correctly. Number two, it helps me as a new employee cut the nerves out of, I wonder if they're going to have something for me to do.
Yeah.
Right? And so what they say is if you have a proper onboarding experience, and this stat is from years ago, but it still holds true, that proper onboarding will ensure an employee stays on at least a minimum of 3 years with the company, because you've done things right to engage, plan, and make them successful.
That's right. And I will say that part of that, and you've hit the nail on the head, both of you, with this training aspect. Folks, even if you hire a professional, let's say you hire a product manager, right? And they've been in the industry, so they know the products, they know the industry, all that. They still don't know how you like things done. And they don't know where you are with things. And they don't know your systems. So you still need to onboard them properly and train them. It does not matter how many times they've done something or all that. One of the few things that this one company I worked for down in Miami did right is that they did that. They day one took me around, introduced me to everybody, gave me time to go around and just focus and figure out what needed to be done where, kind of get my bearings, so that I understood where I needed to start, because I was coming into a disaster on one hand and fixing a department that was there, and then I was also building out a department from the ground up, simultaneously doing both of these things. So it took some orientation, and you have to give people that, no matter how professional they are, no matter how well they know what they're doing. And some people, like myself or Foster or Michael, will kind of take the ball and run, right? And kind of do that on their own. But not everybody does. And it doesn't mean that they're not a great employee. That's okay. That just means that they have different needs. And every employee is different, guys. Every candidate is different.
Managers, like you said, think of product managers. Ross, are you listening to me? Think of project managers. Think of IT leaders,
developers, and all, CFOs.
And I would say that you align. You bring up a really good point, Foster. Align your training plans to the personality of the position, right?
Yeah.
So onboarding, to your point, for IT, for application engineers or software engineers, is very much different than bringing on a registered nurse or bringing on an executive vice president. The other thing I wanted to drive home in the amount of time we have left is, don't just do it for your full-time employees. Also have an onboarding plan for your part-time folks, as well as your temporaries and your contractors, because they could be there a while, right? And a lot of people saying that, every time I have been on a contract, whether it's working with recruiting organizations to turn things around, or in a training, I make it a point to put myself in the business regardless of my employment status, right? Yeah. Which is the part-time, full-time, temporary, right? And that's the way you should look at it. If the company's kind of making you feel like a second-class citizen because you are a contractor or temporary employee, I would have a conversation with you on that.
Yeah, I never felt that way because of my own involvement.
Exactly. Well, that's what I was trying to say.
I wouldn't let it be like that.
Right.
Yeah, but I will say, and that goes on both sides too. If you're on the other side of that, engage, do things to make it clear that you are part of the team. Because as a third party recruiter, a lot of times I'll have people act like I'm an outside agency, like I'm not part of the team. So I don't let them. I integrate in there with them, and I get to know them. That's how Heather and I got to be real close, because I just worked hand in hand with her. Hey, what do you need? What do you want? And if she just had something going on, I'd let her just talk to me, that type of thing. So, so third party recruiters, integrate yourself into there. Let them be part of that team.
Part of this thing, I'm gonna be part of this thing. If you're not going to be part of this thing, guess what? I'm not going to be successful at the very thing that you want me to be successful at if we can't play in the same sandbox.
What?
Well, and that's so let's talk about the other aspects of onboarding. So as a recruiting leader and as a consultant, I always say that the onboarding continues at a 3-month checkpoint, a 6-month checkpoint, a 9-month, and a 12-month. Reason being is you don't want to have any surprises when performance reviews are being done. The second thing I will say is, whether you're in HR or recruiting and you brought that person on personally, my teams always saw them through their first paycheck to make sure they had received their first paycheck.
Mhm.
That was first and foremost, because you want to make sure they're set up in the system, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
but we followed up with them at 3 months and 6 months just to make sure that what the job description said is what they were actually doing. And if you could sense some kind of, well, let's have a one-on-one, let's go to lunch or grab lunch or talk, well, in this case, talk virtually about it. Just let me know and let's see what we can do.
Right.
Asking them if they've talked to their manager or do they want HR to go talk. And we had to get HR involved sometimes to get the managers back refocused on what the main objective of hiring that person was.
Right. Absolutely. And I think that you hit the nail on the head too with the word objective, the point of the objective of hiring the person. Right. So a lot of people think, oh, they're hired, poof, we're done. No, you still had a problem to be solved. So you still need to make sure that problem is in fact being solved. And you need to remember too, that person is an asset as well. A lot of people think, oh, an employee, this is just, another, robot in the system, so to speak. No, these people are assets. They are everything. They are your lifeblood. I've told so many clients that till I'm blue in the face. These people are the reason that you make money. Do not take them for granted. I don't care if it's your janitor. I don't care. Every single person there is extremely valuable. I have one client who gives everyone in his company, no matter what their position, equity in the company. And I love that.
It should be that way. Yeah.
It should be, and especially for a smaller company like what they have, that absolutely makes sense. So another thing I wanted to ask you about too, Michael, and because I've seen a lot of this, and especially so in Texas, I'm back to this payday thing. I know, I'm sorry, Foster. I keep bringing this up. I'm real stuck on pay lately.
Hey, I
in Texas, we had got to have that money. We got to have all the money. It's all about the money, right? So, right. In Texas, you have great payday law, right? And it says you must be paid this much on this day by this time, no matter what.
Yeah.
So. One thing that I used to see, and even back in Texas, especially with the smaller companies, is this, oh, well, your first paycheck may be a little late because it takes a while to get it into the system. Mm-hmm. I die laughing every time I'm hearing that. So I'm like, that just means they forgot to do it. Okay?
That's no excuse.
Yeah, that's no excuse.
It's no excuse. And, one of the things that we used to do to hold us as a company accountable is to put that you'll be paid bi-weekly and you'll receive your first paycheck on date. If they don't,
I love that.
And so, I would always follow up with our, because different companies had different things, but I'd always follow up with payroll to say, hey, is this person on track to get paid?
Right.
The new employees, as we told them, this is when they're getting paid. Yes or no? No. Well, why not? Well, they still owe us a W-4. Okay. Well, have you reached out to them? No. Okay.
Right.
Well, when are you expecting to get the W-4? Right.
Yeah.
So I'll go get that W-4, but I need that person paid this week. We're not waiting until the next payroll. Because
100%.
But it is on you as a new employee to submit your paperwork in on time.
Also, yes, absolutely. I think if they've given it to you.
Sides. Yeah.
No, 100%. 100%. I mean, if they haven't given it to you, ask for it and don't shut up about it. Keep pushing. Also, make sure that this kind of stuff is in your offer letter. Make sure that it says how you get paid. Is it monthly? Is it bi-monthly? Is it every other week?
Ooh, that's a good point. Have that in writing.
Yeah, it's in writing. It works.
In writing, 100%. Yeah. And so candidates too, like he said, push on the other side too and fill it out immediately. Don't tell me in 3 days you still haven't done your paperwork. Come on. It's not that hard.
Well, and I think I was looking at Patricia's comment here. Not to take over, classic.
No, go ahead.
Into my show. But I think she's spot on there, right? I think make them feel welcome. But the one thing I would also add to your comment, Patricia, and by the way, thank you for that. Is help establish. Help a person build out their network internally. I always talk about building connections and networking outside of the company. A lot of companies fail to do that inside the company. And I'm working on a project now where I'm helping internal employees figure out how to go and take advantage of their internal systems, but also train them to better interview internally as an internal employee. And then hopefully I'm going to train the hiring managers on what the differences between interviewing internally versus externally. So
that's great.
So I would say can help them create connections within the company. Have them connect on LinkedIn with their peers or other people that they they really connect with, right? And build those and bring them to life when you can, whether it be through a Zoom call, a phone call, or if we ever get back to the office.
Right. And I also want to say too, internal networking events. Have events where employees can just mingle together, right? And get to know each other.
I like that.
Yes, get to know each other. I worked for a company that one of the things they did is every Friday they would get everybody off the phone for 1 hour at lunch and just let everybody talk together, everybody hang out. And it was a really great experience. And because of that, we all worked so much better in unison, right? And I knew if I had this problem, I could go talk to this person, and this person's an expert in this, and this person. And it was great. It was a great way to get to know each other. Also, this is something that used to always happen to me. I would get scolded for going around and getting to know people. I've been scolded by multiple previous employers. I saw that face, Michael. It's
meaning
true.
That you didn't, you as a recruiter, I assume you were in recruiting?
No. This was back, one of them, I was an underwriter. One of them, I was in sales. One of them,
wow.
I guess you would say, it's hard to explain, but kind of like an account manager, basically. So they didn't like that I was going around and getting to know my team. They didn't like it. They said, well, why aren't you just sitting at your desk doing this and that? I said, because I will be more effective if I go talk to these people and if I get to know them. And you know what's funny is guess whose stuff got done the quickest? Guess who had the best success rate? And I said, see, if you work with your team as human beings and not as somebody on the other side of a computer and not as part of a process, it's a whole other experience. So I would encourage HR people and employers to take those steps and encourage internal networking. That was a great point you made. And I want to thank you, Michael, for coming on. We're kind of wrapping up now. Thank you so very much for coming on. We appreciate you. Check out Michael, connect with him on LinkedIn. This guy's always putting out great content. He's always interviewing somebody or being on a show or, or putting out some great tips. So definitely connect with him. Absolutely. And thank you so much. We'll talk to you again soon. Okay.
Thanks for having me.
I'm sure I'll see you soon, Michael.
I'm sure I'll see you soon.
Probably. All right. Well, it's been so great to have everybody on. Ann Goodman, Michaela, Heather Rios, Deanna Stinson-Reese, everybody has, and Michael Goldberg. I mean, everybody has been spectacular. Connect to all of them on LinkedIn. We've dropped all of their profiles into the comments. Please connect with Foster and I. We love to talk to you guys. We will take time. And we're always this crazy, you guys.
I always got in trouble because I never met my metrics because I talk too much. I get too engaged. I got in trouble at just about every company I worked at because they wanted me to make those calls. They wanted me to do this. But guess who was at the top of the leaderboard? And not just at the top, way up there.
That's right. I was always the same way too, And so guys, reach out, get to know. We love to talk to you. I've met some amazing human beings this week. Some of them have been in the comments. Thank you so very much. Patricia, hi. Nice to see you in there. Priscilla, I hope you got to watch. I've gotten to meet some amazing people through connecting. So reach out, start a conversation. But as per our conversation with Michaela, don't be weird. Do not be weird. Don't say weird stuff to people. All right. If you need help communicating, ask Michaela, ask myself. We will help you with that. Also follow Susan Straub. She is phenomenal.
I will drop her. Is the best. She's a communications expert.
She is. That's what she's a communications expert. And she is hilarious. She is so funny. And you've got to pay attention to her content. Engaging. She puts out great stuff. Yes.
Hey, Catherine, I want to say something real quick if I can. And I know we got to wrap up. Guys, here's the deal. We talk about a lot of stuff. People like to put ideas together and stuff. These ideas make sense, but here, consider who's saying this now. Guys, I never got fired for being assertive in everything that I'm talking about. I did it, y'all. I'm not just talking about it. I got in there and I'm one of these guys that'll tell you and I'll go, oh Lord, I don't know if I'm gonna keep my job, but you know what? I kept my job. Every single job. And guys, you know what? I work for these IBM, Citigroups, and these Verizons, these big old companies. Don't be scared to do what you know is right. We got to keep something going. We can't just fall for everything, y'all, no more. Okay, I'll shut
100%. No. Amen. Mic drop. If Trevor was here, we'd start throwing mics at each other.
I tell you, mics in a couple hours.
I will tell you, no, that is so true. And recruiters and HR, I'm going to put this on you. Be ethical no matter what else is going on. Yeah. I don't care what your client is doing. I don't care what your hiring managers are doing. I don't care what your executives are doing. You be right. You be ethical. You do what needs to be done and speak up. Speak up. It is always worth it. Trust me, you will end up at the top. Trust me. So I want to thank everybody. Everybody check out Foster. He, in a very short time, actually, he's going to be on the Who You Know show.
Yeah, 2 hours.
The Who You Know Job Networking show. And how do they find that, Foster? How do they find the Who You Know Job Networking show?
Check this out. Go to Who You Know. Now, it's Who, Y-A. In Texas, we don't say you. We say yeah.
We say yeah.
Who You Know.show. Who You Know.show, and it will give you everything that you need. Go there at 3 o'clock. We will be out there having
that's Central time. 3 o'clock Central time.
Yeah. Central Standard Time.
Okay, fine.
CST, Central Standard, because we have a number of people from other countries that join in with us, guys. At Central Standard Time. If you don't know what that is, if you're in Kuala Lumpur, ask Google what it is. And so,
but the point is that that is going to be in 2 hours. That we just dropped the link in the comments. And guys, the Who You Know show is great. It's got Trevor Houston, who is a marketing just genius. It's truly self-marketing and self-promotion and getting people to get jobs. Foster, of course, is wonderful and has been doing this for years.
Never mind.
We're gonna blank out how many years it's been.
And also, Catherine, we have the Job Father on Tuesdays.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Sharing that information. I'll be sharing it on LinkedIn. I'll be sharing it on Yahoo Group,
Google
Group. We have the Job Father on. It is another radio show. It is real radio. We're real radio. We're not just digital. But guys, on Tuesdays at 5 o'clock Central Standard Time.
My camera does not like me, Foster. It is trying to kill me today.
The camera can fall. I don't want you to fall.
But everybody, again, connect to everybody that was on the show today. We are here to help you. Whether you're a recruiter, HR, whether you're a job seeker, if you're a CEO of a company and you need help with your hiring, with your diversity, inclusion, whatever it is that you need, employee relations, we are here. We are here. So connect to us on LinkedIn. Thank you, everybody. I think we're going to wrap up a few minutes early. I don't have anything else to say. So thank you very, very much. I know, you and I both, but thank you everyone for coming. It's been a wonderful show. Thank you to all of our guests, and we will see you on September 30th, same time, same place, and it's going to be the entrepreneurship episode. So if you've ever considered being an entrepreneur, tune in, and we'll see you then.
Guys, stick with us. I'm going to be sharing this continually. I want this to grow. Grow.
That's right. And please share the show if you enjoyed it. Please share the link, share the content, and tell everybody you know to connect with us. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Catherine. Thank you, guys.
Bye.